Hi guys, I'm Michiel from No Man's Land Bushcraft and Homestead, and today we're going to talk about the scythe. The scythe is a great way to cut grass for maintaining the landscape. It's a lot of work, but if you do it right, if you maintain it well, if you keep it sharp, it's pretty easy. You just need to know how to do it, and that's what I'm going to explain today. So we'll start with some techniques, how to use it, what you use it for, and afterwards we'll go inside and I'll show you how to sharpen it, how to maintain it, and how to do something called peening, that's hitting it with a hammer to sharpen the edge. Well, let's start with what I'm doing now. I've got a whetstone here, and while I'm working, every 10-15 minutes I sharpen it a little bit, just like that, and it's sharp enough to continue. So let's head over there and start scything. There's lots of reasons why I prefer the scythe above other ways of cutting grass. It's quiet, it's nice, it's a nice motion. You can see what you're doing better, you're more working in nature. I can do this all day. But there's one important thing to remember first, is that there's many different ways to use the scythe, and not one is right. So what I'm going to tell you today is how I use the scythe personally, and what matters is that this area here, this landscape, there's lots of hills, lots of stone, it's very uneven. So maybe you've seen farmers do it when they're harvesting, and they use very big motions. They make half a circle like this, and it works really well, but here it doesn't work. There's stones everywhere, it's uneven, it's not good for the scythe. When I hit a stone, I have to resharpen it, and I might hit the ground. So I use smaller movements. It also depends on what I'm cutting. In this case, it's mostly grass. When I'm cutting grass, I use small movements, keep the blade low to the ground, and make small circles like this. Be very careful that you don't hit the ground. But if there's bigger plants, for example nettles, I use even smaller movements, and I go more like this. And you won't cut the grass very low off the ground, but it's easier when there's bigger plants. I think for now that's about it. It's something you have to get a feeling for. You have to try it a lot. Just on your own, go in a field and try it for a day or two, and you'll get the feeling for it. There's nothing more I can explain about it. Just go and discover yourself. Now let's head inside and see how we maintain the edge. Okay, I've got an old blade here, and we're going to restore it and fix it and see how that works. The first step for restoring the blade is peening. Peening or hammering is hitting between a hammer and an anvil on the sharp edge of the blade. And what it does is it makes the metal very thin, it draws it out, and you get a very thin razor-like edge, which you can later sharpen. It's not easy to do. Most people don't know anymore how to do it. There's, I think, very few people left who can really do it, because you need to know exactly where to hit. And then there's a lot of different methods. This one is the oldest. You have a very small anvil, a hammer with a round back, and you hit on the upper side of the blade, and you need to be very precise, like this. So this is the oldest method for peening the scythe, but of course nowadays there's many different methods that make life a lot easier. One of those different methods is this one. This is also an anvil, but it works a little different. Here the anvil is flat and the hammer is round. Here the anvil is round and the hammer is flat. So it works a bit like this. Same principle, but it makes it easier because there's two guides here. So you can push the blade against the guide and you don't have to worry about where you hit the blade, the edge. But because this is upside down, you need to hold the blade upside down as well. So you can push the blade against the guide. There's also a stand here for where you can lean the blade on. It's adjustable, the height is adjustable. I don't really use it because you have to adjust the height all the time, because the angle, of course, it changes, the blade becomes thinner, so you need to adjust it all the time. I just use my finger to hold it up straight. Before you start peening, you need to clean the blade. I already did it with this one. You can use, if the blade is really rough, for example, you can use a file to just file it down and get a nice straight blade. You can use a rough whetstone, and there's this special kind of stone that you can use to make it shiny, so you can see exactly where you hit the blade. When you've done all that and you've got a nice straight blade, it's not sharp yet, but it's straight, you can start peening. So I'll do a little bit for now and show you how it works. It's not easy to explain. You need to hit the blade on the right side with the right angle. Again, this is something you just need to practice for a while, but this is how I do it. So while I'm doing this, I'm not hitting very hard. It's more important to have the right angle than hitting with a lot of force. And you're gonna need to do the whole blade, so don't exhaust yourself too much. You can do it again if it's not enough. But while I'm doing this, the blade is stretching for about 1 or 2 millimeters. And depending on what you're going to do with it, that's enough. If you want even sharper, you can do it again and stretch it a millimeter more. But it'll also become more brittle, and it might even tear a little bit, so beware of that. So when you've done the whole blade and you're ready, you can have a look how sharp it is. It won't be razor sharp yet, because the next step is to take a whetstone. There are different stones with different roughness. You need to make them wet, of course, first. You can start with the rough one and just start polishing the blade a little bit. Be careful not to cut off your sharp edge because it's so thin. Yeah, you need to be careful of that. When you see very experienced people sharpening the blades, they will go like this, very fast. You can do it, but beware. I like to be more careful, take my time, just do it slowly like this, look at the blade carefully, where it's sharp, where it needs more sharpening, and take your time. Try to find the right angle. Right? Well, this part is already becoming pretty sharp. Of course, I need to take my time and do the whole blade first. But in short, this is how you do it, how you maintain your sights. Next step is, of course, fixing the blades on a pole, on a stick. It really depends on what kind of pole you buy. There's tens of different kinds of poles with all different systems, so just work that out, see what works best for you. The height is important for your back and how you hold it. I can explain all that, but it's something you need to figure out yourself. What you like, how to hold it. This is not something you're gonna learn in an hour. Just take a few days and start experimenting. That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye.